Drea O.
Drea O.
Drea O.
Drea O.
Drea O. Drea O.
I'm from Chicago and
I'm with Drea O right now.
Drea O. Drea O.
Beautiful Drea O.
I'm with my girl Drea O.
And she everywhere you go.
Everywhere you go.
Everywhere you go. It's crazy.
What up, everybody? It's your girl Drea O, and as you know, I'm everywhere you go. And right now we're at LSD Studio, and I'm about to interview Jim Jones, Capo himself, and Mack 11. So let's see what happens. Let's see what they tell me. Let's see what we can get into. Let's go.
We're doing an event tonight for a few artists. Bunch of performances. Come on now, see me perform. But you know me, I like to stay in tune with the younger generation. Sign Mack to the VL family. So you know, gotta stay close to them, help his success, help him move along in this game. We working.
yes. So Mack, born and raised in Chicago, originally from the West Side. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Man, it's the everyday Chicago stuff, really. You know, it's growing up in Chicago is rough everywhere. South side, west side, on what side you on, but I mean, I looked up to Dipset from the west side,
Me
so
too.
it's a blessing to be right here.
It is. So, okay, coming from Chicago, I'm excited for you, and I'm excited for your journey to see everything that you have in store. A couple of artists that have recently came from Chicago that are no longer with us, King Von and FBG Duck.
R.I.P. to both of them.
Yes.
For sure.
I saw an interview that you did where you said that your sound is a little bit different from the Chicago drill sound. So talk to me a little bit about what you're going to do that's kind of different from artists that have came from Chicago before.
See, only reason my music is different from Chicago, like different from the South Side, because it's a different environment. So, like we came up looking up to, like
Twister.
it was more like drug dealers and stuff like that. So it wasn't about killing people and it was more about getting money and hustling. So my music gonna be different from the South Side because they grew up different. Feel me? So it's two different environments. So that's why I say like my music is different because I grew up from the West Side and not just because you know West Side, we invented bop music.
I was just about to say, y'all be out there bopping.
No, we don't. No, we don't.
You used to Stunt Taylor?
No, we
Okay,
don't. No, we don't. We never did that. But shout out to those people because the Stunts Taylors, the Sicko Mobs.
Sicko Mob. I remember
Shout out to those people.
Remember y'all
But
used to be dancing
Yeah.
out west.
like
And
I
the
was just telling
PPs.
Guap this same thing. So I was just telling Guap every time you're in an interview or somebody say, "Hey, look, I'm from out west." First thing they say, "Oh yeah, he used to bop," or "That's some bopping." You're like, no, that ain't no. Every out west person ain't like that. Like they'll make that music. See, I feel like I'm different because I don't make bop music. I don't make drill music, and it ain't too many people in Chicago that do that. You feel me? Like it's either bop music or it's a drill scene. So with me, it's different.
So Jim, seeing, you know, some of the artists that transpired through Chicago, like I mentioned, King Von and FBG Duck, what advice would you give to Mack about maneuvering through the city and the industry? And what are your thoughts on the rappers that we've lost recently from Chicago?
My hearts go out to the families too, the rappers that Chicago's lost first off. You know what I mean? My prayers go out to the family and my condolences. It's always sad when we lose a precious life, especially the life of a young black man that had so much promise, and the both of them had so much promise, especially in this game as far as being successful, and they just was getting started out. So it always hurts to see somebody get cheated out of life and definitely cheated out of success and what they had to offer to the world. It's cold and vicious in this game, so you got to definitely watch your moves and try to make the best decisions in the streets. I'm not familiar with the streets of Chicago, but I am familiar with the streets, and for you to be in a position of success that turns you into a target overnight, whether you got the most money or the less money, people don't know what you have. They only see perception, and what they see is that you looking like money, and you're looking like $1 million, and therefore you have people that have a lot of hatred in their system, and you know how it goes. a lot of people don't like another person to be successful. It's all good until you start to do something good, and then that's when the hate comes in. So, you know, I was able to be, I was smart, and at the same time I had a lot of prayers, and I prayed a lot moving in this game and moving in the streets because I knew my position and the things I was doing. Karma is a motherfucker. What you project in life is what you're gonna get in life. That's just that. You know what I mean? So you gotta watch what you're doing out here. But you never know out here. But you gotta stay on your P's. That's why they say staying safe is now staying dangerous. And it's crazy that you say that. You know what I mean? And where we come from, people only respect violence, and it's sad that I even gotta say this on that mic, but it's hard out here for young individuals like Mack coming up, especially in Chicago, where it's colder than Antarctica out here. You know what I mean? I do know that, so, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you brought up an interesting point where you said, you know, what you speak and what you do kind of like brings that energy towards you. In your music, how do you feel about dissing the dead in your music? And do you do that? And do you think it brings good or bad karma? And then I also want you to answer that, Jim. Because I know in Chicago music, we have a lot of the retaliation raps. And we, you know.
I don't make drill music. Drill music is dissing the dead and killing people. I don't make that type of music.
What do you think about that? Do you think it brings negative?
I mean, honestly, money bring negatives. So if you, like, honestly, I ain't gonna tell you to diss the dead or nothing like that, but that's what people want to hear. Mm-hmm. People want to hear about what's going on. So, but with me, it ain't like that. I don't want to talk about what people want. I don't want to. My talk is different. I can't talk about what I don't got going on.
Right. I feel you.
I mean, but that's a touchy situation, man. You know, like I said,
were y'all doing that? I don't think so.
I mean, I don't do that. I don't talk about people that's dead, and I don't talk about people that's locked up, because those are people that can't defend themselves. That's just always been me. I mean, everywhere is different and shit like that, and everybody got different ways in how they handle their enemies and their ops and their foes and things like that. But for me, myself, I never was one to do it to talk about somebody that couldn't talk for themselves. I mean, if a person is gone, then it's gone. There's no more to be said. But that's just me.
How do you feel about Chicago artists coming together and working together? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, it'll be great, but
it'll take a whole lot of intervention.
Yeah, it's like it's deep with Chicago, so you can't, when blood be lost and you can't, you feel me? So I don't know. All the money in the real probably can't change a nigga feelings about doing, you know. So I don't know. It'll be great though. Other than that, I don't know.
What are your thoughts on the Chicago culture in the scene right now, Jim? And then, like, compared to how it is in New York, what do you think?
Well, Chicago introduced a whole new form of music to the world, starting with Chief Keef. I mean, Chicago's always been talented when it comes to music, from the Twisters to the Kanye's to the Pope Pimps to so many comments to so many artists. But as far as when Chief Keef and them came and on the scene, they introduced a whole new sound, a whole new way of rap, a whole new just a feeling that the young kids just gravitated to by the millions, and that sound has gravitated all around, as now you have Brooklyn drill in New York, and you have New York drill, and they adapted their own form of drill music, which actually started from the Chi. You know what I mean? So people got to give Chi's credit where credit is due when it comes to introducing a sound that's been around for maybe like a decade. How long Chief Keef been out?
Like over 10
Chief
years.
Keef the GOAT. I had to say that.
For real.
And then Fredo, Common, not Common, Dirk, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Herbo, like come on, King Louis, like
Katie,
like come on, like so many, you know what I mean? Like you can't deny Chicago. You never could deny Chicago. That was one thing that was so dope for Chicago for me and Cam, was the music. It felt like everybody in Chicago knew how to rap. It just was so funny. I remember one day walking with Cam downtown in Chicago, a black girl walking by. I never forget this on my mama. Cam like, watch this, I'm gonna tap this girl. I bet you she got 16. He tapped the girl, asked if she had 16. She spit 16 on the spot. He like, I'm telling you, everybody in Chicago know how to rap, bro. Word to mother, like, so, you know what I mean? Shouts to Chicago. They definitely deep when it comes to the music.
What did you see in Mack that was different from other Chicago artists?
Well, the way I handle my business for anything is family oriented. So when Serge said he had artists that he thought could fit into what we were doing, this was what we do. We keep it in the family, and at that point, I already know that the product is gonna be what it is. But it's a no-brainer and shit like that. It wasn't nothing that I had to too much think about. And then when I heard his music, it wasn't worried about comparing it to nobody else from Chicago because he had the product that I know that we can make successful and shit like that. Now, who he is and his character is a whole nother story and shit like that, you know what I mean? But he had the music that fits the business that we needed to make money off of, which comes first, and then the family ties through Serge is more important than anything. And then we got Mack, who's his own man and really stands for something out here in Chicago, which make me feel even better and shit like that. So as an artist that I don't even have to babysit, and he's up on game and gang and shit like that. So now we gonna move and want to call it.